Have you ever heard of BPC-157 or BPC-157, however you want to say it? If you haven't, you will. Should you consider taking it? Should you hold off until more information becomes available? Or should you avoid taking it altogether? Today, we're going to talk about what it is, the potential benefits, and some very real concerns that you should be aware of. BPC-157 is a peptide, and peptides are strings of molecules called amino acids, which are the building blocks for proteins. Peptides are basically short proteins that are about 2 to 100 amino acids long. Likely the most popular kind of peptide are collagen peptides. Talked a lot about that on this channel. BPC-157 is a synthetic peptide created from a protein in your stomach acid. BPC stands for body protecting compound. The number 157 refers to its specific sequence in that protein. BPC-157 has some exciting possibilities, especially when it comes to healing wounds and repairing tissues. This is why it's gaining a lot of popularity in the athletic and fitness world for its potential for speeding up recovery. The research is very powerful. Studies have been shown that BPC-157 promotes wound healing, speeds up tissue regeneration, reduces inflammation, increases blood flow, relieves joint pain, boosts immune function, improves muscle strength and endurance. What doesn't it do, right? One study took a look at subjects with completely detached Achilles tendons. Participants were given BPC-157, and the results were incredible. They saw better, higher quality collagen formation while actually rebuilding the Achilles tendon, better biomechanics, better elasticity. They significantly regained function, and they also saw improved vascularity and blood flow as compared to subjects that did not receive BPC-157. Another study took a look at BPC-157 and its potential impact on muscle repair and recovery. Subjects had significant calf injuries. The muscles were crushed horrifically. Subjects were given BPC-157 and saw significantly faster repair and recovery than the groups who did not receive BPC-157. In contrast, the groups that did not receive BPC-157 took much longer to heal, and they had a much harder time regaining function. Those are just two examples. There are other studies that are equally fascinating, and that evidence is growing rapidly. It's easy to see why there's a lot of hype around this incredibly interesting peptide, BPC-157. Hey, if you're liking today's video, please remember to subscribe. Thank you. If BPC-157 is so amazing, you might be thinking, well, what's the catch? What's there to be concerned about? Well, those studies that I just told you about, all of them were done in rats. Perhaps the biggest concern is that most of the information we have is from studies done in animals, primarily rodents. The good news is that these studies haven't shown any negative side effects or toxicity in rats. The concern is that we don't have the studies confirming the safety of BPC-157 in humans. People are not rats. Well, some people, I guess, act like rats, but you get the idea. To date, there are no randomized placebo-controlled studies of BPC-157 in humans, at least not that I've been able to find. If you know of one, please put it in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. Now, BPC-157 is currently listed as a prohibited substance by the World Anti-Doping Agency. So, if you're a competitive athlete, you need to be aware of that. Most people aren't going to be competing in drug-tested athletic events. So if that's you, you're probably not going to be concerned too much about that one. What you might want to ask yourself is, how safe is it and how do I know? The US Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, says the experimental peptide BPC-157 is prohibited under the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list in the category of unapproved substances. Furthermore, this substance is not approved for human clinical use by any global regulatory authority, and it may lead to negative health effects. They also say, because BPC-157 has not been extensively studied in humans, no one knows if there is a safe dose or if there is any way to use this compound safely to treat specific medical conditions. The other concern is that many supplement companies are notorious for cutting corners. And using less than accurate, hyped marketing tactics. How do you know if what you're getting is actually BPC-157? Those seem to be the biggest concerns, and I'd suggest they're worth consideration if someone is thinking about taking BPC-157. With all of this in mind, there is a lot of very exciting potential when it comes to this amazing peptide, BPC-157. The world of peptides in general is gaining incredible popularity, and for good reason. But lack of human research aside, there are people taking BPC-157 and experiencing some incredible benefits. I can't wait to see more scientific studies in humans. As mentioned earlier, the animal research concerning BP-157 is showing some amazing benefits and has not shown negative side effects or toxicity. However, based on the lack of research in humans, BPC-157 should really be considered experimental. If you decide to take it, it's important to know that you are conducting an experiment on yourself. In effect, you're basically becoming part of one big, giant, unregulated human trial. For some people, that's fine. Some people are, what we consider early adopters. They want to jump right in on the latest developments and are comfortable doing that based on the incredible, promising animal studies. So they kind of throw caution to the wind, say, that's good enough to me, I'm going for it. It's been like that for a lot of different things. And those people often pave the way for others with their willingness to jump in and not wait for the extensive human studies, which could take many, many, many years. Interestingly, this often accelerates human studies, and companies see, there's a growing interest and more money suddenly becomes available to fund that research. The question is, are you an early adopter? Are you willing to put something in your body that has little clinical data pertaining to humans? I guess that really depends on how much risk you're comfortable with. For myself, honestly, I'm actually considering doing a self-experiment, which is really what prompted me to make this video. It's prompted me to do the research. I developed some very serious biceps tendonitis doing lots of pull-ups way back in April 2024. I've taken time off, I've rested, I've done extensive rehab exercises, but at the time of recording this video, it still isn't quite right. And I'm starting to wonder if is it ever going to heal? So I'm curious if perhaps BPC-157 might help. I'm considering it and doing research, but currently I'm still undecided. What about you? What are your thoughts about BPC-157? Do you have a personal experience taking it? If so, please let me know in the comments below.